Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there nation, welcome to the show. We help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and now it's time for another edition of Age of the Realms. This is our series of Warhammer Age of Sigmar battle reports. This is a 1,000 point battle report for battle report number 28. It is fought with my Esoteric Order of the Thousand Suns with my Disciples of Tzeentch versus my buddy Smells Like Febreze of the Wild Hunt with his Sylvaneth army. So this is a 1,000 point engagement, just a straight up throwdown at 1,000 points for Age of Sigmar. Just FYI, my buddy Smells Like Febreze, he's been using my Sylvaneth army that I usually had for the first half of these battle reports that I used. He's been using very, very effectively, and so now we're going to see exactly what happens when the student takes on the master in this battle report. So he's going to take me on to see exactly what he's learned and see with some of the techniques he's learned from using the Sylvaneth and see how it stacks up against Disciples of Tzeentch. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play some background music real fast through the army list real quick, and then we'll get on with the battle report. Alright, so that takes directly to deployment. As you can see, we're fighting on a 4x4 table. The reason why is because we're fighting at 1,000 points, so we really need to use a huge 4x6 battlefield. As you can also see, I'm deployed on the near side of the table. My opponent's deployed on the very far side of the table. For the most part, I just kind of crowd up my forces kind of like in the center of my deployment area because I'm fighting against Sylvaneth. I know exactly what these guys can bring. They can quickly surround you really fast if they set up Sylvaneth wildwoods around you, so I'm trying to play kind of defensively here. My goal here is to have these guys take the offense and kind of move towards my enemy's area, so that way they can engage them in close combat as well as give them the range of magic, and then just kind of occupy a fighting position and just maintain that area until I just basically heal my opponent. On the other side of the battlefield, as you can see, my opponent has also put up one of his units, and that is Kodal the Will-Lord. That is his Tree Lord Ancient, and that's the only thing he has deployed onto the battlefield. So that being said, let's go and zoom into the individual deployment areas and see where everything's located at. Alright, starting off on the left-hand flank, we have my Chanters of Change. It's my unit of 10 Carrick Acolytes, and right behind them, of course, we have Barnabas the Scrivener. He's the magistrate that I have located there as well, kind of occupying the left-hand side of my forces. Meanwhile, deployed right in the center tower there, of course, I have my Changelings, which is my unit of 20 Zangors. They're kind of occupying the base of the tower that's located in the middle of the battlefield. On the very top, of course, I have Skeksis of Dark Crystal. That's my Zangor Shaman, so that makes it the center deployment for my army. And finally, making my right-hand side, I have the Cult of Orpheus, the Covenant Orpheus, rather. That's my second unit of 10-man unit of Carrick Acolytes, and then right behind them, of course, I have my Fate Master. I am running a Cabal, an Arcanite Cabal battalion for this, so because of my 3 leaders will be able to use additional spells if they're within 9 inches of each other, as well as generate more Destiny dice if I use those up. And so they're all kind of crowded around the same tower piece, so that way they can get an easy reach of each other, so that way they can use that battalion ability. So that pretty much makes a deployment on this side. And then of course I have my 9 Destiny dice. As you can see, I have 3 1s, 2 2s, 1 3, and 3 4s. So that'll definitely help me out when the battle to come. And then finally deployed all the way on the other side of the table. Inside of his Sylvaneth Wildwood, smells like Febreze, took his general, which is Coadil the Warlord. That's his Tree Lord Ancient, had him just kind of deploy there at the very far end of the table. The rest of his forces are deployed out the side of the table because these guys are Sylvaneth. They're going to travel on the realm routes in order to pop up and ambush my forces. So now that I'm realizing like how effective Sylvaneth are really good at outmaneuvering you, I'm starting to regret switching armies because I taught Smell Like Febreze how to use this army effectively, and he's been doing a pretty good job of it. So it'll be interesting exactly to see what happens in this battle report. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1. I won the initiative on this part, and this photo is taken directly after the command phase. As you see, pretty much the only thing I start doing is I start using my Crown of Command ability for my Fate Master. I put Inspiring Presence on both units of Carrick Acolytes. Those guys are only 10-man piece, 10-man strong apiece, so if anyone's going to take any damage, those guys will definitely be the ones that kind of break, because Carrick Acolytes are kind of fragile that way. So while Zangors, on the other hand, carry 2 wound apiece. At the same time, I also cast Mystic Shield with Skeletons of Dark Crystals, and that way he gets a +1 save onto my Zangor as well, so those guys are up to a 4+ save, which is always a good thing as well. Because my opponent is out of range of any magic, I really can't use any magic phase, so because of that, that pretty much rounds up my command phase pretty quickly. In the move phase, I pretty much run most of my guys up to that little center area where the central standing stone is located in the middle of the battlefield. Like I said before, this army is designed to be strategically offensive, tactically defensive. The idea is that this army is built so that way I can maneuver my forces to a favorable area, then occupy that area and kind of hold it down, and then kind of defend it at that point, make my opponent come to me. However, if my buddy Smells Like Febreze just keeps his entire army on the far side of the board, I won't be able to do anything about that. So I kind of venture further towards that center standing stone and decide to kind of defend that standing stone against all comers. I take my Chanters of Change there on the right hand side, left hand side to kind of cover up any Sylvaneth Wildwoods that might pop up there. Same thing with Barbarous Discriminator support cover. And taking point, I have my 20 unit man of Zangors, as well as the Changelings, as well as our Jangor Shaman, making sure that those guys are protected as well. And the right hand side, I have my Covenant of Morpheus, as well as my Fate Master, occupying that Sylvaneth Wildwood there on the right hand side, so that my opponent can't really pop up there too easily. And that pretty much makes up my movement on this one. Alright, so with nothing else going on, we go directly to the bottom turn number 1 for the Sylvaneth in this round. This photo is taken directly after the command phase, and the very first thing that my opponent does, he takes Coel the Warlord, casts his Silent Communion ability, which gives him another Sylvaneth Wildwoods within 18 inches on a 4-up. So you can see there he deployed 2 of his Sylvaneth Wildwoods on the left-hand side of that watchtower, so that way he's kind of connecting a chain of forests on the left-hand flank to the pine trees behind my back left, because that's where another Sylvaneth Wildwood is located as well. And at the same time, he uses, I believe it's called Verdant Blessing. That's the spell where a Deep Lore Wood spell where you can summon up another Sylvaneth Wildwoods within 30 inches, I believe is the range on that part. And so because he pops up another set of Sylvaneth Wildwoods right behind my main lines. At this point, I'm realizing that maybe I made a tactical error trying to occupy the center of the battlefield, because now I just kind of put myself in a situation where I can be completely surrounded by Sylvaneth Wildwoods. And when you're going up against Sylvaneth, that is never, ever a good thing, because I used to do that to my opponents all the time when I fought against them using my Sylvaneth. So now I'm like, oh, what kind of a disastrous move did I just make? So yeah, that pretty much makes it the command phase on this one. So we go to the move phase, and this picture illustrates why you never let yourself be surrounded by Sylvaneth Wildwoods. And the reason why is because in the move phase, they can teleport into these Sylvaneth Wildwoods and just make play Merry Ha with your day. It's just really bad. So starting off on the left-hand side, the first thing that he does, he takes, of course, his Court of Seasons. That's his huge unit of 20 Dryads. He deploys on that Sylvaneth Forest on the left-hand side, getting within charging distance of hitting my troops as well. At the same time, that back left-hand corner, he teleports Coadil from his side of the deployment area to my area of the deployment field, right behind that Sylvaneth Wildwoods there in the left-hand corner. And he also takes his Court of Tides, which is another 10-man unit of Dryads, and kind of deploys them there to act as kind of like a shield to protect his Tree Lord Ancient. And then to make things worse, on the right-hand side, I thought my forces were close enough to the Sylvaneth Wildwoods, the fall-colored ones on the right-hand side. I thought they were close enough to where my opponent couldn't get into that forest and use it as well, but ends up he landed within 3 inches of it and remained 3 inches away, 9 inches away from me as well. So that was kind of rough, and so he deployed both his units of Kurnoth Hunters, both the Troop of Dusk as well as the Troop of Dawn. And as you see here now, I'm pretty much fully enveloped almost by my opponent's Sylvaneth army, and I realized I made a huge tactical error. Here's a close-up of his general, as well as his 10-man unit of Dryads, and that huge unit of 20 Dryads on there on the left-hand side, getting ready to threaten the 10 Carrick Acolytes and the Magister they have there on the left-hand side, so things are not looking very good on that part of the board. And here's a close-up of the right-hand side where he has his 2 units of Kurnoth Hunters getting ready to shoot at my other unit of 10-man Carrick Acolytes, as well as my General, which is right in the field of fire with their great bows. So that was just a wonderful tactical decision on my part. So during the movement phase, my buddy Smells Like Febreze decides not to move any of his troops. He decides to keep them exactly where they're located at. And during the shooting phase, he takes all 3 of his Kurnoth Hunters from the Troop of Dawn, opens up on my General, the Fate Master, which is Sekenri the Illuminator, and manages to kill him. Then he takes another unit of Kurnoth Hunters, the Troop of Dawn. Then he take aim with their Kurnoth Great Bows and open up on Skeksis of Dark Crystals. And they kill him too. So without just in one single shooting phase, they managed to kill both of my 2 of my characters from my army. So they kill my Zangor Shaman as well as my Fate Master, and I'm realizing now that I made a huge mistake deploying this way. And to make matters worse, on the left-hand side, I forgot to take a photo of it, but Willow Lord opens up with his Doom Tendril staff during the shooting phase, managed to put 3 wounds onto my Magister as well. Came close to killing my Magister, but the Magister's still alive. He's only got 2 more wounds left, which won't last very long against these Sylvaneth, but at the same time though, man, it was just bad. Just all kinds of bad. So we go to top of turn number 2, we roll for initiative, and luckily for me, I managed to secure the initiative, so during the command phase, I only got 1 character left anyway, so I take my Magister, have him cast Bolt of Change onto the unit of Dryads. I managed to kill 3 of those Dryads, and as the rules state, for every model that gets slain that way, you roll a d6 on a 4-up, you sum up a Chaos Spawn. And as you see there, I managed to summon up 2 more Chaos Spawn onto the left-hand side of the battlefield to take on these Dryads, because I have nothing to really stop these guys, because Carrick Acolytes are not exactly the best at close combat. So yeah, I know you're supposed to play points for these things when you summon up new allies and stuff like that, but you know what, my friends and I, we don't care. We don't play summoning pools. And I know a lot of you haters will hate the fact that we don't do summoning pool, but you know what, that's how we roll over in my gaming group, and that's the way we do it. So during the move phase, in order to compensate my really bad tactical decisions that I made in the last round, I decided to kind of shuffle around some of my troops. The first thing I do is that on the right-hand side, I take my Carrick Acolytes, I move them up, their maximum movement allowance is 6 inches, and kind of move them at a 90-degree angle. Make them perpendicular to that center standing stone, so that way they can bring the full power of their shooting abilities with the other Carrick Acolytes, so the Chanters of Change and the Coven of Morpheus can concentrate fire onto that unit of Dryads. My goal here is to take on the Court of Seasons there on the left-hand side, whittle them down a little bit with some Sorcerer's Bolts for my Carrick Acolytes, because both units are within range of the Magister, so they get bonuses to hit as well as get extended range on their shots. And once I weaken them down enough, use my Chaos Spawn to kind of whittle them down a little bit further, so that way I can engage them in close combat with my Carrick Acolytes and hopefully kill those guys and be done with it. On the right hand side though, what I also do is I also run up my Zangor, my Changelings, because they're Gores, they can both run as well as charge in the same turn. So you can see that I'm moving up 12 inches and rolled a 6 on my advance. So because of that, those guys kind of go right to the base of that little Sylvaneth forest there with the autumnal colors. Granted, when I charge through it, I'm gonna have to take dangerous terrain tests for these guys, and for every one I'll lose one. But at the same time, though, I gotta take on those Kurnoth Hunters and destroy them, because if they get another round of shooting, I'm not gonna survive this very well. At the same time, my Magister there, as you can see in the center of the table, I move him in such a way that he's out of range of the Doom Tendril staff, so I don't have to worry about him getting shot that way. And at the same time, it kind of blocks from being shot at by those Kurnoth Hunters as well. And that pretty much makes up my move phase for this part. So during the shooting phase, I concentrate fire with both my units of Carrick Acolytes from the Chanters of Change and the Coven of Morpheus. They managed to kill 2 Dryads out of the number of them for a grand total of 5 for 5 dead Dryads this turn. The reason why is because Dryads had that +1 save for their numbers that they have in the unit. They also get a cover save for the Sylvaneth Wildwood as well. Plus, you also get a -1 hit penalty against them when they're in the Sylvaneth Wildwood as well. So because I only managed to kill 2 of those guys, so even though I was concentrating fire with my Sorcerer's Bolts, and they're usually pretty good, I didn't really do them much good in the shooting phase on this left-hand side. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, my Zangors use their Icon Bearer's ability because my Magister is in 18 inches, so because of that, they could cast one shot with their Icon Bearers. Managed to inflict a single mortal wound onto one of the Kurnoth Hunters. It's not great, but, you know, at this point, I'll take whatever I can in the shooting phase, because that's the only thing I have going for me. So with shooting phase over, we go directly to the charge phase. And needless to say, my Zangor had no problem getting to that Sylvaneth Wildwood and charging into the Troop of Dawn. I believe that's the name of the Kurnoth Hunters on the left-hand side as well. I believe I lose 1 or 2 Zangors from my trouble running across that Sylvaneth Wildwood, but then again, I have a lot of Zangors as well. These guys will get additional 9 extra attacks because they have 9 or more models in this unit. They also have Great Blades, so they're getting 3 attacks with their Savage Blades with +1 to, for their Savage Blades, a +1 to hit because I got paired blades. I also have, like their beak attacks, so it's going to be a good thing, and hopefully I can just devour these Kurnoth Hunters in the combat phase. So this photo is taken directly after the Khmerl phase as well as the combat phase, and needless to say, my Zangars had no problem just devouring those 3 Kurnoth Hunters. We killed them all to a man before they even got a chance to strike back, so that kind of frees up my Kurnoth Hunters to charge into the Troop of Dusk as well and try to take those guys out in close combat, because this is the reason why I love Zangar. They got 2 wounds apiece, lots of attack, they get a distant another big attack too. They'd be much deadlier, of course, if I obviously had my Zangar Shaman with them, because I get +1 to hit as well as +1 to wound in that case, but you know, I'll take what I can at this point. Meanwhile, combat here on the left-hand flank, I do manage to take out 5 of the Dryads, but not because of combat. My Chaos Spawn didn't do anything. They didn't even wound a single one of them. But the reason why is because during the morale phase, because these Dryads had lost 5 members already, they lost another 5 because when my opponent, Smells Like Febreze, rolled for their morale test, he rolled a 6. So because that 5 more of those guys were off the battlefield. So that was kind of nice. On the other hand, though, I did lose one of my Chaos Spawn, and they also put 4 wounds on my second one, and this guy's going to die pretty quick. So things are not looking very good for this left-hand flank. It looks like my plans are falling apart. So that takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for the Sylvaneth. The very first thing we do is we go into the hero phase, and the first thing that happens is that my Magister gets shot with a arcane bolt that was cast by my buddy Smells Like Febreze. I had no problem killing the last few remaining wounds onto my Magister, so now all the characters in my army are now dead, and I have no magic now to deal with anything anymore. And because we're Sylvaneth and the movement we do just doesn't keep on going, we go directly to the moon phase. And as you see in this photo, the first thing that my buddy Smells Like Febreze does, he moves up his Court of Tides, which is 10-man unit of Dryads, and have them kind of position themselves in kind of like a bottleneck formation between the 2 chains of Sylvaneth Wildwoods there in the center of the table as well as on the far left-hand side. Looks like he's getting his forces kind of get ready to charge into my 10-man unit of my Carrick Acolytes and kind of finish those guys off as well. At the same time, he also takes his Kurnoth Hunters from the Troop of Dusk and kind of positions them in such a way around the other side of the Sylvaneth Wildwood, so if I decide to charge against them, I'll have to take more dangerous terrain tests running across those forests, and you know, because that's what Sylvaneth do. And that pretty much makes up the move phase for my opponent on this one. During the shooting phase, Koido the Warlord takes aim with his Doom Tendril staff and manages to wipe out 5 of my Carrick Acolytes right off the table with that disastrous shot from his Doom Tendril staff. Man, I'm kind of envious right now because when I had Koido the Warlord and I tried to do a lot of high damaging shots with him, I would never be able to do it. But Smells Like Febreze, he's just nailing him like he can't miss. And so because that unit of Carrick Acolytes gets cut in half from one shot from that Doom Tendril staff, so that's just awesome. Meanwhile, here on the right-hand side, he takes aim with his Troop of Dust from his Kurnoth Hunters, opens up and kills 3 more of my Zangar, which is also pretty horrible as well. I also think I lose 2 more during the morale phase as well. Because there's no combat this side, we can just take care of morale now. I think I lose 2 more of my Zangars at the same time, so I lost 5 total. So my huge unit of Zangars isn't looking as impressive as it used to. And combat over here on the left-hand side. This photo is taken after the morale phase as well. Managed to kill my Chaos Spawn though, any kind of incident whatsoever as well. During the morale phase, I did burn up one of my Destiny dice. I rolled it once, that way none of my Carrick Acolytes from the Chanters of Tzeentch would flee. So because all 5 of those guys say exactly where they're located at, and with combat over as well as morale over, we go directly to the top under turn number 3 and we roll off for initiative. And that takes the top of turn number 3 for the Sylvaneth. So like the worst thing absolutely happens. The Sylvaneth get a turn back to back, and I'm just screaming no to the Chaos Gods because I realize I'm screwed now. So the very first thing he does during the command phase is that he uses his Inspiring Presence ability and gives it on to these Dryads. That way they don't have to worry about taking more losses from morale when we get to the morale phase. The battle shock phase of the turn. So that way they don't have to worry about losing any more Dryads. My opponent then uses his Silent Communion ability. He rolls a 5, so he gets to sum up another Sylvaneth Wildwood within 18 inches. As you can see, he kind of daisy chains another Sylvaneth Wildwood next to that Standing Stone to the hill. So now that way he's kind of got this kind of semicircle surrounding me of Sylvaneth Wildwoods. It doesn't really do much for him unless he moves there, which would be really devastating because then he completely surround my forces. But at the same time, though, it does act as a buffer for my second unit of Carrick Acolytes, my Coven of Morpheus. They're on the right-hand side. If I run across that or charge across that, I'll have to take dangerous terrain tests as well. So kind of a cool move at that part. And because Smells Like Febreze is smelling blood in the water, he casts Arcane Bolt onto my unit of Carrick Acolytes from the Chanters of Tzeentch and managed to kill 3 more of those guys as well. So now that 10-man unit has been reduced to 2 men left, and things are not looking very good for me at all in this battle report. And because all of his forces are within 3 inches of a Sylvaneth Wildwood, he then teleports all of his forces to the left-hand side of the table and starts taking a defensive fighting position there as well. As you can see, he has his 2 battle line units. He's got 10 Drads from his Court of Seasons, as well as his 10-man unit Drads from the Court of Tides, taking up positions there in the front line, so that way they also receive cover bonuses from the trees, and also -1 hit bonuses as well. Right behind them, of course, he has his Kurnoth Hunters, so that way they can start deploying some long-range firepower, and then right behind them, of course, he's got Kuodil the Warlord, kind of acting as a buffer to cast more magic and to cause all kinds of craziness take place. So that pretty much makes the movement phase for my opponent on this side. During the shooting phase, he finished off the last 2 members of the Chanters of Change off with his Doom Tendril Staff from Coadil. Managed to inflict 2 more wounds and managed to kill both of my Carrick Acolytes, so I'm pretty sad about that. And then his Kurnoth Hunters take aim with the Great Bows, and with the Concentrated Fire managed to kill 6. They killed 6 of my Carrick Acolytes. And I just realized, I forgot how deadly Kurnoth Hunters are, and I realized, man, it must have been a pain to fight against me because I love those guys. And now I can see why I love them so much, because their shooting ability is freaking amazing. And now I only have 4 Carrick Acolytes left on the battlefield. And that, ladies and gentlemen, takes us to the end of the game, because the only thing I got left are 4 Carrick Acolytes, as well I think is 15 Zangor, and I realize there's no way I'm going to win this battle, because whatever my Carrick Acolytes try to do, they'll get shot to pieces, and then my Zangor, of course, have a long way to run across the battlefield. My opponent will shoot me along the way as well, and then when I finally close up to him, I will not be able to effectively cause any more casualties. So at this point, I call the game. At this point, the game is now over. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the after action report and talk about exactly what went wrong in this battle report.
I thought about staying. They offered me the chance to lead them, to teach them, to be king.
Uh-huh.
But my place is here, so I swallowed the juice, said the words, and here I am.
Did you say the words right this time?
Well, maybe I didn't say every single tiny little syllable, no, but basically I said them, yeah. Basically.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for the after action report. This is the part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is the after action report for Age of the Realms 28, and it was a defeat for yours truly. It was horrible. Oh my god, I got beat so bad it was not even funny. So, let's go and talk about my losses real quick. So first of all, I lost to Kinray the Illuminator, Barnabas the Scrivener, Skeksis of Dark Crystals, the Court of Morpheus, as well as the Chanters of Change. So pretty much my entire army. Smells like Febreze, however, he lost the Troop of Dawn, so you know, that's basically all he lost from that one. So simply put, why did I lose is because I got overeager. Simple as that. I lost my discipline. I lost my battle plan. I thought I could take on anything at this point because I've been defeating pretty much everything I went up against using my my Disciples of Tzeentch army. And so hubris was the reason why I lost. I got prideful and I got checked, and I realized why I'm not so invincible anymore. So I had to learn the hard way that I can't be doing that, and that's the reason why I lost. First of all, I got suckered into going in the center of the board. I thought, like, you know, if I could go in the center of the table and occupy it, that won't be untouchable because I have this 360-degree viewpoint of field of fire and no one will be able to touch me. But as everyone who fights Sylvaneth knows, if you don't watch your flanks and your back, you're basically a dead man. And I ignored that because of why? Because of hubris. That's why I thought I could do it, and obviously you can't do that. So because of that, maneuverability cost me this battle. Just simply put, Smells Like Febreze dominated the movement phase, keeping his forces out of the range of my spells, at the same time keeping me within range of his long range attacks as well. Every single time I try to commit to the attack, he'd jump back and then deploy somewhere else and hit me somewhere else as well. So very much like a very much Sylvaneth way of fighting, because that's what I used to do. So anyway, so first of all, character assassination also won in this battle as well. He targeted after my 3 main characters, and because without those guys I had no magic. Without magic my army sucks, so because of that I was completely powerless without any magic abilities to fight back. And to all of you guys out there who are Tzeentch haters, who are like, oh, Tzeentch Arcanines are too overpowered, or oh, Disciples of Tzeentch armies are too much, just pay attention, because you just want me to just lose against these guys, and you just saw how I got defeated really bad. So most of the flaming haters out there will never learn about this, but man, the only thing I can do is hope that you guys will watch and learn to see how you can do this. For those of you who keep on losing to Tzeentch players all the time, pay attention to what my buddy Smells Like Febreze does, and you'll find the holes in our system. And another thing about that was kind of funny. I kind of taught Smells Like Febreze everything he knows about using this Sylvaneth, and it pretty much shows in this game. Basically, my student has become the master because he took all the skills that I taught him, and he just kind of took it to the next level and just stuck it to me in a really bad way. So yeah, very, very devastating in that part. Once again, this was an awesome game, a really great opponent to play against. I'm looking forward to the rematch because Smells Like Febreze is just coming up the ranks with his playing ability. I'm just excited to see exactly what he does. Just a quick little note for our channels. We are changing the air time for our battle reports. On Sundays, we will now alternate between Age of Sigmar as well as Warhammer 40,000 battle reports, and on Thursdays Thursdays, we'll alternate between Necromunda and Warhammer Fantasy Battles as always. However, if you want to think of it this way, think of it as like 1 week of our channel will be dedicated to fantasy, so we'll have Age of Sigmar on Sundays, and then Warhammer Fantasy Battle on Thursdays, and then on the next week we'll have a sci-fi week where we have Warhammer 40,000 on Sunday and Necromunda that Thursday. It makes it actually kind of cool looking if you think about it. And then of course when we get our Blood Bowl game put together and our series made for that one, we'll just plug right in the middle of the week so that way you guys can check those out as well. As always, you guys, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Google Plus for all the latest and greatest of what we're doing for hobby. And always, please feel free to like, comment, and/or subscribe. Your guys' input is always appreciated. So that's with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for this one for Battle Report number 28. This was in the book. We will see you guys on the flip side. Peace out.